Hello, gorgeous Aries. Welcome to your weekly reading with me. This is going to be for the next 7 days. Whenever you're watching this, I'm trying something different. So let me know how it fits in your story. So let's dive into the tarot and see what's going on for you guys. For the next 7 days, let's start out with one of the oracles for you. All right, Spirit for Aries. The next 7 days, what can you tell us? The next 7 days for Aries. What do you got? You have step up and lead. So that's very Aries energy, right? Being a leader, Emperor energy, taking action. This is a new moon in Capricorn, which means that there is new energies, a new beginning, and it's time to get serious, right? With Capricorn energy, it's all about hard work, maybe even material wealth and career. But it's saying here, step up and lead in this new chapter of your life. So that's pretty important. Let's dive in a bit more. What is going on for Aries in the next 7 days, please, Spirit? The next 7 days. Be flexible. So that's interesting because you got one that's very stubborn and stuck, right? Step up and lead is such a forceful card in a way, right? But flexible is also kind of understanding that there is some things that are going to be in your control over the next 7 days, and there are going to be things that are not. So it's up to you to pick and choose or to understand what is what, because flexible says sometimes if we're too stuck and too rigid and we're not able to bend with the wind, then that wind, meaning change, really for me, that's how I see wind. It represents change. That wind is going to come and pull you up by the roots, right? If you're not able to bend like the trees, right? And that's the analogy that card likes to use, is that trees are able to bend because it means that they're able to survive big storms. But the ones that are stuck and rigid are usually the ones that you find laying in the street, right? The next day when a storm is really tough. So in order to survive the storms through life, Spirit really is asking for you guys to be flexible. I always say with this card that the goal always remains the same. So keep grounded with your goal. However, there are things going on around you at this time that are probably going to be a bit distracting or a little bit worrying. Not too worrying. Maybe that's the wrong word for it, but your external environment is changing. Your goal is the same, but let go of everything else that Spirit's trying to get involved with to help you, I guess, to get closer to the goal, right? Sometimes we don't understand changes until after they've happened and we're like, oh, this was all actually aligning for me to have this thing that I wanted. So it kind of is that energy. So the Spirit's saying, be flexible with us, right, Aries? Don't worry. You need to step up and lead in your life and I guess be that forceful energy to push yourself forward with goals. We'll figure out what exactly you guys are being called to step up and lead in, but be flexible with the rest on how you're going to get there. Basically, that's what I like to say with that card. Okay. We have sacral chakra just because of that orange vibe going on with you. So that is about your dreams, not your dreams, but your desires. So kind of the same thing, your feelings. All right. Sometimes it's about sensuality, sexuality, and all that kind of stuff. It's all about desires and your feelings. Get grounded with that. Okay, I'm going to pull some tea leaf tarot because you guys enjoyed it last week. So let's pick up this very difficult deck to pick up because they are circles. All right, Spirit. What are some random messages that you have for Aries for the next 7 days? What's happening over the next 7 days for Aries? Okay. One more. Okay, you got 2. So the one that's showing itself is despair, which says heartache over what you no longer have. So that could be related to the endings. Maybe you have been through some sort of heartbreak or situation that has caused some pain in your life. Sometimes it could be a loss or a rejection. It can make us feel like, oh no, like I'm not going to have that specific door opening up for me. So whatever it is, I love that the sunrise is coming through next. You have new creative ideas. So yeah, it does feel like this new beginning is kind of driven from a rejection or an ending of some kind. So this says new creative ideas, new ventures, and a fresh start. Be flexible, right? Don't try to hold on to things that are trying to leave. Kane says pay attention to your health. So it's a really good week to make sure that you guys are prioritizing that over the next 7 days. You have fans. So if there is a celebration or party coming up, then you could definitely meet someone at this party. So pay attention to that also. Maybe a good time to put yourself out there if you are single. And then you have well. So over the next 7 days, there is some sort of family wish that will come true during the next 7 days. All right, let's dive into your tarot. I'm going to go and have a little look at an overall overview of the next 7 days. So what is the overall message of the next 7 days for Aries? Please, Spirit. Ten of Wands. That's interesting to come on top of cane and pay attention to your health, because these are sticks. They're showing me that these are multiple canes. So I wonder if there is like, some of you might be dealing with multiple different issues, or you've let something pile up a little bit. Now's a really good time to go check it out with the doctor, for example, if you are experiencing things like that, to not hold on to it, right? Go and see someone. Or again, it's time to address maybe some health issues. So that could really be about letting go of things that create heaviness within you. That could be to do with your diet. I don't know why I'm like going off onto this energy, but I do feel like that. I feel like it's time to let off this big weight so you can have this fresh new start. When we go from the 10 to the ace, it is kind of going from heaviness and also needing, you're coming to completion of something, going from heaviness to complete free spirit. So the overall message for everyone, is basically that, right? Letting go of things that are way too heavy for you, responsibilities that are not yours anymore, baggage that is overwhelming, right? And exhausting, and maybe just a chapter in your life that has been a lot of hard work and maybe not enough reward for the hard work that you've done for it, right? So certain relationships that were more painful than they were rewarding, etc., etc. So this is probably a big lesson that you guys are learning over the next 7 days of maybe you gave your power away to a lot of people, or maybe you gave your power away in general, right? Sometimes the 10 of Wands can be being a bit sluggish in life, which is normal, by the way. We all kind of get into those habits where we feel like we could do more, but we got all this pressure on ourselves, and that can be overwhelming, right? During the next 7 days, you're really being called to let it go, right? Yeah, let it go. Very important. So I'm going to clarify that, but I'm going to look at your energy over the next 7 days, because sometimes it can be a bit different. Did you see that? As the Ace of Wands, I'm going to take it because it's exactly what I said. Gorgeous energy. Spirits in the room. All right. Can I have a little look? Can I get one other card out for the energy of Aries over the next 7 days? I'm hearing good things are coming. Good things are coming. And it's the Three of Cups. So this is about celebration. So you will be celebrating something. This can also represent this romance celebration party. You guys could definitely be socializing or being called to at this time. And I do feel like you're going to make really good connections here. Any networking, etc., etc. Anything to do with people or close-knit group. I think it's going to be important this week for lifting your spirits. Anyway, going over to the Ace of Wands as well. This being in your energy is exactly what I said of where you're becoming a free spirit, right? You're starting fresh in some endeavor. This is exactly the sunrise card, new creative ideas. So maybe you guys are feeling more inspired. What's interesting, I just have to show you this, is this kind of, maybe I'll show you up close so you can see it. It looks like this Ace of Wands is in the 10 of Wands. You see how there's only one, let's try to get it in the light, one stick in the 10 of Wands that has that ribbon wrapped around it and those beautiful flowers. So it looks a little bit here like there is something that you're able to keep with you that maybe got a bit buried with all the responsibilities or heaviness of life that you've had lately. So it's almost like maybe you're letting go of a lot of things, but there's one thing that you're staying true to, and that could be that dream or goal. That could be yourself. You're not losing yourself. You're not letting go of yourself. You're letting go of everything else that you've carried this whole time. Anyways, Ace of Wands, a new idea, new start, new career adventure, maybe a new project that you guys have. Either way, that butterfly there does represent that you are becoming a free spirit, right? You're going from that kind of caterpillar to this butterfly where you're finally able to spread your wings and transform. Three of Cups, again, a celebration. So the next 7 days, you are going to be celebrating some things, feeling more connected, feeling more grateful, because that's what the Three of Cups is about as well. I always say it's my card for loving the journey. So make sure that we're not trying to focus too much on only being happy when we reach certain goals, because then we're probably only going to be happy like 5% of life, right? The majority of life is about the journey. So finding ways to enjoy that and romanticizing that is going to be important. Why is the 10 of Wands the overall energy of the next 7 days? The Hanged Man. So you've been stuck in a position that has been quite uncomfortable for you. Again, feeling a bit like your hands are a bit tied behind your back and that you're unable to move. This Hanged Man, I always represent life by seasons sometimes, especially when this card comes through, which means that you've been through your winter, which is survival mode. When you think of winter, we kind of really have to let go of a lot of things and so that we can survive, right? The trees do the same thing. I always use trees as a as a metaphor. In this case, spring is starting to come, which would make sense a lot with the Ace of Wands too. That is spring energies. New things are starting to happen over the next 7 days. However, you're in a defrosting period. Now, the Hanged Man is about looking at life through a different lens. Life has been heavy for you, so you're starting to understand what you need to let go of so you can step into your thriving mode instead of your surviving mode. And I think that's quite beautiful, but it is through some enlightenment and some truth that you need to look at to understand that maybe you've been holding on to a lot of things that have not been serving you in your life. All right, you're defrosting. And the energy of Aries over the next 7 days, Ace of Wands. Thank you. And the Three of Cups came out again. I was going to clarify them separately, but hey ho. And the Three of Cups, please. The Nine of Swords. So, okay, some of you have a little bit of a fear of friendships, by the way. Like, I feel like community is a little bit problematic for you because it has been. We'll go into that, but look at the Three of Cups, a card of celebration, celebrating new life. So it makes a lot of sense that there is something great happening over the next 7 days. They're celebrating this little egg hatching, which I love. So find some friends who are going to celebrate life with you, who are on the same wavelength. Now, this celebration card and community card is jumping up on top of romance, celebration, party, and family wishes coming true. So there definitely is something going on during the next 7 days that is going to cause maybe family to celebrate something or some sort of party going on. Anyways, we was clarifying that. So Three of Cups now being clarified by the Nine of Swords tells me that you guys have a little bit of a fear of success. I do think not just success, but being seen, being celebrated by others. Like something, Six of Wands is about community, having a following in some way, or people looking up to you in some way usually, or celebrating you, as you can see here. The Nine of Swords tells me you have a lot of fears. And the Nine of Swords usually does come from trauma, right? It's like you're fearful, you're anxious, you're worried, you're thinking about all the bad case scenarios instead of the good case scenarios because you probably have been through it, right? Trust issues in friendship. So there's something going on, or maybe even celebrating a journey. You're worried that you're jinxing things, and that's a big issue a lot of people go through. Three of Wands tells me that there is something that you do desire here when it comes down to connection, to people, to being celebrated, to being in a spotlight. But the Nine of Swords tells me that you might need to change your perspective of it or heal whatever issues, scary belief systems you have about success, friendships, and all that kind of stuff. That's something to work on during this time. Okay, what is a potential challenge that might come up for you guys over the next 7 days? The Knight of Swords, rushing things is not going to be good for you, so don't do that. Let's clarify what this means. The Knight of Swords is the challenge. Why is this here as a challenge? Page of Cups. And the Five of Cups. Okay, let me sit with this for a second because, for some of you, it could be how you might handle news that might not be, the news that you want to hear. So dealing with that is important. Knight of Swords sometimes can be communication, and then Page of Cups can also be that too. So maybe there is going to be some form of communication, or maybe that is despair, that maybe that's some rejection in some way, or something that creates a bit of disappointment to you. Your challenge during this week is to process your feelings and emotions, to really process them, right? The Knight of Cups being here, address your feelings, be open and vulnerable with how you feel about something, and not to be the Knight of Swords, which can sometimes be lashing out, okay? Or fighting back in a way, or wanting to speak your mind to someone in maybe a not very healed way. Knight of Swords, Page of Cups, Five of Cups. So yes, I would just say with that, some of you, it's about dealing with changes, right? Maybe things that you were not expecting, things going on around you that you can't change, that could create disappointment for you. Your challenge this week is finding peace with that, or healing from that, and dealing with your emotions around that. Especially if anyone's coming in trying to create some disappointment in you. It's really about managing your feelings. The Five of Cups does come through as a little bit of advice not to focus on the negatives. So trying your best to remember that you're the leader. So if something comes up, doesn't work, okay, what's the next thing? Don't dwell. You can process your pains for sure, but don't dwell, okay? Don't let this knock you off of your horse. Okay, and what is the overall advice that you have for Aries over the next 7 days? Eight of Wands, I love that. It's one of my favorite cards, saying that you are on the right track. So a piece of advice is to keep moving forward. The Hanged Man and the Eight of Wands. Because we have the Hanged Man here, and it's now here in your advice. So of course, looking at life through a different lens, your perspective, and how you not speak things into existence, but maybe when life is speeding up and great opportunities are happening, maybe you have a bit more of like a mindset where it's like, oh, like my life is just so crazy, instead of like, I'm so grateful for these great opportunities. There's something about that coming through. The Eight of Wands is one of my favorite cards. As I said, there's a lot of information coming your way, a lot of good news, a lot of opportunities. Life is speeding up for you in the right direction. It's about being on the right path. The Hanged Man is just, again, about how you view it, and taking time out where necessary to really connect with yourself and your intuition and your gut instincts, and to connect to your spirit and your soul. Why is the Eight of Wands the advice? What exactly is the advice around this card? What is the advice for the Eight of Wands? The Four of Cups, so don't be your own blockage here. That's one thing I'll say, because Four of Cups is feeling jaded or bored, again, a little bit ungrateful. So as I said, it's similar to what I was already saying. Four of Cups as well could be that, yeah, there's a bit of rain, meaning a little bit of what's the word, not the most ideal environment to grow in or to move forward in, right? It does feel a little bit like things might not go to plan. Like I said, there's some things that are outside your control and some things that are, and they're wanting you to say that you can still dance in the rain if it's raining outside. Don't delay yourself. What I'm getting is a little bit like, instead of making excuses of, I don't really feel like it today, or it's not the best day to do it, so I'm not going to do what I want to do. It's almost like committing to yourself is what I'm feeling, no matter what the weather, which means your environment. Because I'm just seeing it as that. This little lady looking out the window like, maybe not today. Eight of Wands. And the Hanged Man, can I see what exactly is the advice around the Hanged Man? And also Four of Cups is a bit about rejecting opportunities as well. So that coming through with a card of opportunities, you are being called to take the step up and lead in your life, not to be a witness of life, but to actually live it, right? It's almost like, don't let life pass you by is what I'm seeing with that. Rejecting opportunities, so don't do that. They want you to really go for it, because these are all leading in the right direction. Now the Hanged Man, why is this advice for Aries? Okay, got a few. Oakley dokley, so it's about your perspective over what? You have the King of Pentacles, so it could be about material wealth. King of Wands, oh, there's a conflict here that you are going to be, your advice is to look at this through a different lens for some sort of harmony. Now this could be an earth sign, you might be the fire sign, right? But the Five of Wands is conflict, competition. Temperance about harmony, balancing these two elements and energies to move on with harmony or peace at least. So that's very interesting. There could be someone coming in, or you are being called to heal something. Interesting. If it's not external to you, it could be about these two sides of yourself, of one who's a part of yourself that's very ambitious, creative, but there's also a side of you that maybe you need to balance, which is being more grounded and also more maybe focusing on the grounded stuff. If that's to do with business, for example, it could be about partnerships, but Five of Wands tells me there's a little bit of conflict between you and someone. It could be a Sagittarius, doesn't have to be Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, but regardless, it does feel a little bit like Hanged Man, your advice, looking at this conflict through a different lens. Three of Swords, this could be the heartache over what you no longer have. The Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers, some of you could be definitely healing something, which is interesting. Or again, you're exiting a period of heartache and pain and entering more of a period of love and great choices and peace. Interesting. Well, my gorgeous angels, that's what I got for you. So let me know how the next 7 days goes for you guys. I'll be really eager to see your comment sections down below. If you enjoyed these readings, then make sure that you guys like and subscribe. But I'll see you guys next time.